All right. So, everyone's talking about AI
Yeah.
and, all the fears about like the robots taking over
Yeah,
jobs
for sure.
and mass unemployment and the economic uncertainty and all that.
Right.
It's like, it's kind of funny though,
Mm.
because it's like a fear that's been around forever.
Yeah.
Like, back in the day, we had like the Luddites
Oh, yeah.
smashing all the textile
Oh,
machines.
totally.
Like, it's the same anxiety, just different century.
Definitely, yeah.
But what if I told you that like the real threat to the
Mm.
economy might not be like AI itself,
Okay.
but like something totally different?
Interesting.
So that's what this guy Mark Andreessen,
Okay.
he wrote this article called Why AI Won't Cause Unemployment.
All right.
And that's what we're going to like unpack today.
Yeah, this is definitely like a really timely topic,
Oh yeah.
especially right now with, all this anxiety
Mm-hmm.
around AI and jobs.
Yeah.
Even like the idea of universal basic income is getting a lot of attention,
Oh yeah, for sure.
which kind of just shows you like how real this fear is
Right.
for so many people.
Yeah, and UBI, that's a whole other
Yeah.
that's a whole other deep dive. We could do
Oh
something.
boy. Yeah.
But so Andreessen, like, he kind of takes a different approach.
Okay.
He basically points out that like all the, previous tech panics,
Uh-huh.
like remember back in the 2000s, everyone was freaking out about outsourcing.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And then in the 2010s, it was like the robots are going to take our jobs.
Right, right.
But like none of that like actually led to those
Yeah.
economic collapses everyone was predicting.
It didn't really pan out that way.
No, like we saw like a ton of economic growth
Mm-hmm.
right up until COVID hit.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
But, history doesn't always repeat itself perfectly either.
Right.
Like, who knows what'll happen?
Right.
But what I do think is interesting is like what Andreessen says about regulation
Okay.
and how that could actually be the thing that like limits,
Limits the impact.
yeah, AI's impact.
Okay.
And he talks about this concept of two economies,
Okay.
which he illustrates with this chart
Okay.
that's pretty thought-provoking.
So let's break down this like two economies thing.
Yeah, okay.
So in his chart, he's got like these two sets of lines,
Mm-hmm.
blue and red.
Okay.
And the blue lines, like they represent the parts of the economy where like innovation is just booming.
Okay.
So like a good example is electronics,
Yeah.
like smartphones.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how much they've changed.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like they're constantly getting like more powerful and
Yeah.
more features and all that.
More features, yeah.
But the prices have stayed like pretty stable
Eh.
or even like gone down,
Right.
or like solar panels.
Oh yeah.
The cost of solar energy has just plummeted,
It's crazy.
like as the technology's gotten better.
Yeah, totally.
So that's like the blue line economy in action.
Yeah.
It's like innovation driving down prices
Uh-huh.
and increasing like the quality of stuff.
And then you've got those red lines.
Yeah, the red line.
Which are basically like the opposite. So
Yeah.
these are the sectors where prices are like skyrocketing,
Uh-huh.
but like technological progress is basically non-existent.
Okay, so give me an example.
Okay, like college tuition.
Oh, yeah.
It's gotten so expensive,
Out of control.
but has the quality of education actually improved
At the same rate?
at the same rate? No way.
Bro.
Or healthcare.
Oh, yeah, good one.
The costs just keep going up.
Yeah.
But are we seeing like better outcomes
No.
or better access? No.
Yeah, it's like a total disconnect.
Yeah, it's wild.
And so Andreessen is saying that the reason for this, like
Mhm.
this crazy difference, is regulation. He's
Yeah.
basically saying those red line sectors,
Mhm.
the ones where prices are just like out of control, they're like
Mhm.
super heavily regulated.
Right.
And a lot of times they're dominated by like monopolies.
Yeah.
Or oligopolies.
Exactly like monopolies, where it's just one company controlling the whole market,
Yeah.
and oligopolies, where it's like a small group of companies
Right.
that are calling all the shots.
Right. And so like they don't really have to compete as much.
Exactly, because there's no competition.
Yeah.
So they don't have to innovate.
Right.
Like they could just kind of do their thing
And charge whatever they want.
and charge whatever they want, pretty much.
Yeah.
And you've got all these other things too, like
Yeah.
government regulations and price fixing.
Yeah.
And occupational licensing.
Yeah.
All these things that make it like super hard
For new businesses to even.
for new businesses to even enter the market.
Yeah.
And that limits the incentive to innovate.
Right. Because why would you?
Exactly.
If you can just rake it in
Totally.
by doing nothing new.
And this isn't just like some abstract economic concept.
Right.
This is like real world stuff
Yeah.
that affects all of us.
Totally.
Like, think about it. Have you ever been frustrated
Oh, yeah.
by like the cost of housing in your city?
like constantly.
Or like trying to find healthcare
Oh my God, don't even get me started.
that you can actually afford.
Yeah.
Like these are the effects
Oh, the two economies.
of the two economies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're living it.
Yeah, it's playing out all around us.
Totally.
And then Andreas Sesson, he takes it even further. He says,
Yeah.
like, we get all outraged about these rising prices
Makes sense.
as consumers,
Right.
but at the same time, we're like terrified of losing our jobs
That's producers.
as producers.
Right.
Like, we want our cake and eat it too.
Right, which is like
Impossible.
impossible.
You can't do both.
Yeah, you got to pick one.
Yeah.
And this is where AI comes back into the picture.
Okay.
Because if like a huge chunk of the economy becomes dominated by these like
The red line.
the red line sectors,
Yeah.
the ones that are like super regulated
Right.
and not really into technology,
Yeah.
then there might not even be that much space for AI to like cause a ton of disruption.
Because those sectors are already kind of like,
They're already resistant to change.
yeah.
They're not really innovating anyway.
Right. So it's not that AI isn't capable of like, you know, disrupting jobs.
Mhm.
It's that the legal stuff
Mhm.
and the regulations might be like,
Like a buffer.
yeah, like a buffer
Yeah.
preventing AI from like
Mhm.
reaching its full potential
Because
in a
it's-
lot of industries.
Yeah, and that raises like a whole bunch of other questions like,
Right.
is this a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah.
Are we like protecting jobs
At the cost of,
at the cost of innovation?
Yeah.
And like potential economic growth?
right. Or are we like accidentally
Yeah.
shielding ourselves
Or from AI.
from the effects of AI? It's
Yeah.
like a fascinating dilemma.
It really is.
And I'm curious to get your take on it.
Okay.
But before we do that,
Yeah.
let's like look at another part of Andreessen's argument,
All right.
which is like the role of the government.
Uh-huh.
And like what happens when there's too much regulation?
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. It's like kind of a weird thing, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Like we're worried about AI taking our jobs,
Uh-huh.
but at the same time,
Yeah.
we're kind of like making rules and stuff
Right.
that might protect those jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But is that like a good thing?
Yeah, that's the question.
Like, are we like shooting ourselves in the foot?
It's tough because it makes sense to want to protect jobs.
Right.
Especially in industries that have always been stable, you know?
Yeah.
But like, what if we're holding on too tight
To the old ways.
to the old ways and
And
then...
we fall behind
Yeah,
in the global race for tech.
exactly. It's like we're stuck.
Between a rock and a hard place,
Totally.
like if AI is as big as everyone says it's going to be,
Mm-hmm.
those blue line sectors
Yeah.
where innovation is happening,
Right.
those could see like massive growth.
Okay, but what about the people
Yeah.
in the red line industries?
That's where reskilling comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And education.
Okay.
People need the right skills
To like keep up,
to adapt.
adapt with the changes.
Yeah, like imagine trying to run a race
Okay.
while wearing like heavy chains.
Okay.
That's what it's like.
For businesses.
For businesses.
That's all this regulation.
Trying to innovate.
So it's not just about like learning how to code or whatever.
No, it's about like a mindset,
Okay.
being open to learning new things.
Yeah, like always be learning.
Always be learning. Yeah,
Because the world's always changing.
exactly. Especially with tech.
Right.
It's like the only constant is change.
Yeah, and it's not just people who need to change.
Right.
It's like businesses and governments too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like we need policies that encourage like,
Innovation.
yeah,
Yeah.
new ideas.
Yeah, and starting new businesses.
Right, but also like,
Safety nets.
yeah, for the people who lose their jobs.
Right, because there will be people who lose their job.
To automation and stuff.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's like we need a whole new way of thinking.
Yeah, we can't keep doing the same old thing
Right.
and expect it to work.
Yeah.
We got to be like bold and try new stuff.
Challenge the status quo.
Yes,
And
what
like
I'm-
maybe if we understand these trends,
Mm-hmm.
we can like help create
A better future.
a better future.
for everyone.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Thanks.
But wouldn't some people say
Uh-huh.
that some regulations are actually good?
Yeah, like to protect people.
Right. Like what about the FDA?
Oh, yeah. Good example.
Like they have that whole approval process for new drugs,
Right.
which takes forever.
Yeah. Takes a while.
But it's supposed to make sure those drugs are safe.
Right. So it's like a trade-off.
Right.
Like you want to protect people,
Mm-hmm.
but
yeah.
you also don't want to stifle innovation.
Yeah. You need to find like a balance.
Yeah, you need a balance.
Right. Because like if there's too much regulation,
Uh-huh.
it can like kill small businesses.
Oh, totally.
And then there's less competition.
Yeah, and that's bad for everyone.
Right. But then
Yeah.
no regulation.
Yeah, that's bad too.
Like unsafe products.
Right. People would get hurt.
Yeah. It's complicated.
Yeah, it's not easy.
So this brings up another question.
Oh,
Like
sorry.
what does all this mean for like,
Yeah, good question.
as like consumers and voters?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even like future entrepreneurs.
Right. Like, how do we make good decisions
Yeah.
with all this going on?
With all this crazy stuff happening.
I think it starts with awareness.
Okay.
Like, we got to understand,
How it all.
yeah, how regulation impacts things.
Yeah.
Like, maybe start asking ourselves questions.
Like what kind of questions?
Like, when you buy something,
Uh-huh.
ask yourself, am I getting my money's worth?
Okay.
Is the quality good?
Uh-huh.
Is the price fair?
Yeah.
These are like simple things.
But they make you think
Yeah, they make you think
about how it all works.
and become a more informed consumer.
Yeah. And like a better citizen.
Exactly.
I like that. It's not about like predicting the future or anything.
Yeah.
It's about like being ready for anything.
Yeah, being adaptable. Having the tools
The tools.
to navigate whatever comes our way.
Yeah, that's great.
Thanks.
So it sounds like you're saying
Yeah.
that like by understanding these trends,
Yeah.
we can maybe help create a better future.
Exactly. Like, it's not set in stone.
Yeah.
The future is what we make it
We make it
by our choices,
our choices.
our actions.
Yeah.
It's about thinking critically,
Uh-huh.
asking questions,
Yeah.
and like having conversations.
Right. Having these discussions.
Yeah, about the challenges and
Yeah.
the opportunities.
They're coming our way.
Because the future's not something that just happens to us.
Yeah.
We create it together.
Awesome.
Right.
I love it. I'm feeling energized by this conversation.
Me too.
And I bet our listeners are too.
I hope so.
But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
let's like do a quick recap
Okay.
of the main points from Andreessen's argument.
Sounds good.
So we talked about a lot today.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Like Andreessen's argument
Mhm.
about AI not causing like mass unemployment.
Right. Not necessarily.
Not because it can't disrupt jobs,
Right.
but because of like all the rules and regulations.
Yeah, the regulatory landscape.
might be holding it back.
Kind of a weird thought,
That
right?
is kind of a weird thought.
Yeah.
And we talked about the two economies thing.
The blue lines and the red lines.
Right. The blue line economy where like innovation is booming,
Prices going down.
quality going up,
Yeah, exactly.
and then the red line.
where prices are skyrocketing.
And that thing's really changing.
Yeah, no real progress.
And like how governments and monopolies and all that
Mm-hmm. All those bear
are like stifling innovation.
in those red line sectors.
So it's like this weird paradox.
Yeah.
We're scared of AI taking our jobs,
Uh-huh.
but we're also like making it harder.
For AI to do that.
Yeah, by like over-regulating.
It's kind of funny when you think about
It
it.
is kind of funny.
Yeah.
So like what does this all mean?
For the future.
For the future, yeah.
Like if Andreessen's right,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the regulations that are the problem,
Yeah.
will we see like a big push to deregulate things
To make room for AI?
to make room for AI?
Is
Yeah.
it just going to keep going?
Like
'Cause-
this two economies thing.
Yeah, with some industries just like stuck in the past.
Yeah, like totally resistant to change.
It's hard to say what'll happen.
It is hard to say,
Yeah.
but it's definitely something to think about.
I think so.
Like, imagine you're starting a business today.
Okay.
Would you want to be in a super regulated industry?
With no room for innovation,
Or would you rather be somewhere,
where you can try new things.
yeah, and like shake things up?
Be disruptive.
So it's not just like a thought experiment or whatever.
No, this is real life.
It affects all of us
As consumers,
as voters.
as entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Like, what do we do with all this information?
It's a lot to take in.
It is a lot.
But I think the first step is awareness.
Okay.
Like, we
Sure.
got to understand what's going on.
Yeah, how it all works.
So we can make better decisions.
Yeah, in our lives.
And in our communities.
Right, like pay attention to how regulation.
Impact the things you buy.
Yeah, the services you use
And think about the skills you need.
to succeed in the future.
Yeah, the skills, that'll be valuable.
No matter what happens.
It's about being prepared,
For anything.
adaptable.
Having the right tools.
Yeah, to
To
totally.
navigate the future.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
I guess.
And maybe if we all understand this stuff, we can help create a better future.
Exactly. It's not predetermined
Right. The future is what we make it.
by our choices,
Our action.
our decisions.
That's a great note to end on.
Thanks.
So we've reached the end of our deep dive today.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed it
I did.
and learned some new stuff. And like, remember,
Yeah.
the future's not set in stone.
It's a blank slate
We get to decide what it looks like.
by the choices we make.
Thanks for listening.